Yeah. What's up, people? You are back at another episode of You Too Near Me Not to Hear Me. Ladies and gentlemen, I know I always say that I'm excited about my guest, man, but I am pretty much excited about this dude that you see right here, whichever side it's going to be on. This guy, man, is a gentleman more than what people know him to be from being at the parties and hanging out and all that other kind of stuff. This is a dude who is, like I say, when you're looking for that one record, you got to go deep in the crates. So this is a deep in the crates kind of brother mentally, man, and I love him for it, man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is Vince Adams. What's up, brother?
What's up, DD? Good to see you, Big Dan.
Hey, man.
We miss you. We miss you over on this end, but you can keep the 112 degrees.
Hey, man.
On your side, Chief.
Hey, I'll take 112, and when we talk sometime in December, I'll let you.
We'll revisit this.
Yeah, we'll definitely revisit, man.
Touche, mon frere, touche.
My snow scraper is on the garage door as I enter, so to never complain about how hot it is here.
There it is.
That's my reminder. Like, you could be,
subtle reminder. Fair enough.
That's it. You could be scraping. My brother, man, what's going on, man? It's good to see you, man.
It's good to be seen. Trust me. It's August of 2020, and we know that there's been a lot going on the last 7 months. So, yeah, good to be on this run, my man.
I mean, the funny thing about it is that, none of us could have predicted this.
No.
Where we are right now. And for
something to know what? Let's have a little fun with that.
Okay. Holler at me.
We couldn't have predicted it, but for one odd reason, I decided to watch Contagion during this period. And I was like, let me get this right. In Contagion, they're talking about CDC, social distancing, the organization. Sanjay Gupta is the medical correspondent for the cable. I'm like, if they knew all of this in Hollywood in 2013 or whenever this movie came out, I think the government knew a little bit more than, and of course I'm not going to get into politics right now unless you open that door, but.
Oh, I'm going to open it. I'm going to kick that door down because.
Yeah, so suffice it to say, I do believe, and excuse, I didn't shave, but it's okay.
That's all right, bro. I got a little scruff.
We're team babyface over here.
That's right.
Beer gang over here. But yeah, I mean, so the timing, who could have exactly known the timing? But when you see what Bill Gates had to say in the TED Talk a couple years ago, watch Contagion, I'm like, they didn't know as much as the government did. So, I'll just leave it at that. And if you haven't seen Contagion.
Oh, I've seen it.
I'm saying the viewer, if your guests haven't seen it, I highly recommend it if you've been following things just to see the parallel. It won't scare you and won't create anything any different, but just to see the parallel. Even social distancing, they talk about being 10 feet apart, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's almost like we got the playbook on how we're handling things from that movie.
Right. So
I'm just saying,
not a ton of surprises if you're that producer, but everybody else, oh my God, how did we get here?
Well, you know what? It makes kind of sense because you got to think about the world pandemics that were going on at that time. So we dealt with swine flu, we dealt with some other things like that, we dealt with Ebola, that kind of stuff was going on. So this was something that was coming down the line. I don't know if we saw it to be this kind of, to this kind of degree, but it was a great what if what happened, and then bam, it happened.
Absolutely.
So
I'm sure you didn't bring me on and talk about the war.
Oh, bro, man, we here to talk about everything, bro. It's how we. Hey, listen,
what year are you rocking on your shirt? I got one of those too. There it is. They had to know.
Man, I got to rock it, man. I'll be 52.
Class of 86 is representing, right?
86 in the mix, baby. You know how we do, man. I'm trying to. Kimwood in the house, man. All right, I got to do it one time.
It's all good, Bronco.
Yeah, man. So, dude, the funny thing about it is when I thought about you coming on, I said, okay, everybody wants to get at this guy and talk to him about music and, the party scene and all this other kind of stuff. And I was like, I'll kind of miss the kind of the gap if y'all ain't really know my boy Vince Adams, man. I mean, For people who don't know this dude right here, he is pretty, famous for just spinning on the wheels of steel, but also just being an influencer. More than anything else, he's just a dang good guy, man, and he's good people to be around, and people gravitate to him. When I finally got hooked up with my man, you know, I found in him just a genuineness about being straightforward and always trying to help folks to pick up pieces from where they're falling onto the ground and say, hey, how do we move forward? And he's like always willing to lend that kind of advice. So, those are rare people in this world. With that being said, dude, how do you know when it's time to walk away? How do you know when it's time to get out? And Vince, I leave that open to anything, any situation. But the reason why I say that, and I want our viewers to understand that, is that there are circumstances in which we all have gotten ourselves into, and when we're so deep into it, you feel entrenched. Like, okay, I can't get no way out of this. I'm just gonna have to deal with this. And then there are times when you have to say, no, we're gonna bow face and get up out of this. This ain't the way it's supposed to be. So you give me the scenario, the story, and what gave that to you? When was the time to walk out and walk away and get out, bro?
Brother, that's like a 9-pronged answer for me. So I'm gonna just hit them all. One is that I was raised as an only child. So you say, well, how were you raised as an only child? Well, my brother is 15 years younger than me. So I'm 18, he's 3. I have a sibling, but we weren't raised together, if you look at it from that perspective. So from the age of 0, birth to 14, in the 70s, born in 70, I really became very self-contained. And what I mean by that is I could entertain myself, I could read, I could, find my own source of entertainment. And so what that meant later in life was that, and being a person that was always very self-sufficient, I never found myself to be bored. I never found myself to be lonely. I never found, I was always able, literally, if you locked me off in a room by myself for 2 weeks with a computer, a TV, a remote, some books, a Kindle, I couldn't be shut off from society, but just me, I'd be a pretty happy cat. So I say that to say that because I'm not cantankerous if I'm by myself, because I'm pretty pleased if I'm by myself, I'm very sensitive to external elements that disturb my peace. Because I'm not the type of person that's angry and then happy and then crying. I'm kind of like this all the time. So if there is some bump in, my temperature, it's because of an external, element more times than not. So 1 prong. 2, when I went away to college, I had no idea of what I wanted to be when I grew up.
What's your alma mater, man?
Florida A&M University, Whitney Young Dolphin. I had to throw that in there to the
yes, sir.
But graduate of the School of Business at Florida A&M University. The reason I went there is because I said, well, if I get a degree in business, I can work for a hospital, I can work for a church, I can work for the NBA. If I get a degree in business, that allows me to apply myself somewhere, but at the same time, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And I share that because I've developed a work ethic that allows me to do things that I don't necessarily like in order to get to where it is I want to go. My other alma mater is DePaul University. So I got to a point in my professional career outside of music where I was like, hey, I need another qualification, if you will, some additional credential in order for me to get paid the way that I want to. So took on all the school loans that it takes to get a master's degree and got a master's degree in science, a master of science degree in IT. So I shared that prong to say I'm willing to go through uncomfortable things in order to get to what I want on the back end. So it's not like everything has to be comfortable. So how does this tie into the question of the exit strategy? Is that I'm always aware of what doesn't feel good. If this doesn't feel good anymore, it's time to get out, time to find another dynamic. If there's an opportunity that doesn't necessarily feel good in the moment, but has a better outcome after you go through the uncomfortable parts, I'm willing to go through that discomfort on the short end to get to what I understand on the back end is the bigger reward. So we should always be aware of the external elements that are coming into us that identify some source of discomfort, like maybe I should get out of where I am. It could be a relationship, it could be a business, it could be any number of things where you know that in your own space, I'm good, but these external dynamics are not fitting with me. Or you can open yourself up to something that may not necessarily feel good in the moment, but you can see the opening on the other end that says, I'm willing to go through this short-term discomfort in order for me to get on the other end. So the exit strategy is always really determined on those two things. If I'm shielded off and feeling good in my space, but I've got these external elements from whatever I'm dealing with that aren't working for me, maybe I should find a way out if I know that this is not resonating well with my spirit. Or if there's opportunity out here and I have to go through a short level and of course we can break this down to different levels, but I'm just giving the higher thing, me being comfortable in my skin, me being the only child, me being self-contained. Those are the two things I'm always looking at relative to an exit strategy. One, am I disturbed in my current environment outside of my own, presence? Two, is there something outside of me that I have to go through? Do I have to learn something? Do I have to stay up all night on YouTube to figure out proper sound? Do I have to do things that I might not necessarily want to do, but I know if I go through that, I've got a better reward on the back end? That's the exit strategy for me that applies to really any aspect of your life. Those two things kind of set you up for what's next.
Man, dude, you said a mouthful in there. I love that answer. You touched on a point that I'm kind of curious about when we talk about relationships.
Yep.
That now deals with, not so much the business side of it that you're working and you've got a kind of business with you. I'm talking about just, somebody who you're living with or dealing with or something like that. Right. There's a difference in dealing with that, because when you're talking about saying, okay, wait a minute, everything is going fine, but you're not feeling something that's going on.
Right.
Now, how do you pull the plug up on that and take that exit strategy without, self-imploding or, dealing with everything else that comes along with it? I mean, there's no smooth way to go about it. I know that for sure.
Man, all right. So, highly subjective here. There's no, right or wrong or anything. The first thing that a person has to be is self-aware. If you're not self-aware, there's no way for anybody to ever give you any level of advice, because you're like a kite in the wind. You're over here, you're over there. You don't know what triggers you. You're like, so my answer is going to be from the standpoint of a person that's like, I know this, makes me a little pissy, or I know this isn't really something I prefer, or I know this is my hot button. Not like one day you're cool and the next day you're on edge. And like, if those people, I can't speak to that. So I'm going to speak from a perspective of a person that I know my triggers. I know what I like, what I don't like. One, you didn't come into this world, to exist by yourself. Like there has to be a certain level of compromise. There always has to be a certain level of adaptation. And if it comes from a reasonable place, we have the same value system. That's the number one thing. We value the same thing. You can't be in a relationship and you're a person that values peace and another person doesn't value peace. If you don't both value peace, you probably won't find peace, because that person is more so like, I just need the answer, as opposed to like, let's just do this in a way that feels more comfortable. Let's revisit it tomorrow or whatever. Like that's, if you don't both value peace, then you know. So again, getting back to the relationship dynamic, you have to understand what your personal level of awareness is. You have to understand what your value system is, and you have to respect your own boundaries. Because if you don't respect your boundaries, other people won't.
That's a strong statement right there, man.
So that's essentially what it comes down to. So I'm in a position now where, for the very first time in my life, all due respect to any exes, I'm in a relationship with somebody who values peace over everything else. So since that's at the top of our hierarchy of what, like, we really disagree all the time with no discord.
Mm.
That's very important. It's not like we think the same. It's not like we have the same answers. It's not like we like the same things. We disagree all the time with very little discord because the value is peace. So you have to ask yourself, if I'm a person that you know, I'm a go-getter, I like things done immediately, and I need my partner to be like that as well, and your partner is kind of like, more of a procrastinator, or I'll do it later. Well, put up your value system to say, is this something that, I'm willing to tolerate because, I like things done now. If I'm a very clean and neat person and this person doesn't necessarily have their, place for everything, and this is something I can't live with, like, all of those things need to factor in. So, to be more succinct and to get to the heart of the question, one, if you're self-aware, what's your value system? Find a person that values the same thing that you value, and you'll work through things a lot more, I guess you could say, efficiently
Yep.
than, because there are always things to work through. It's not like you ever get to the point where you stop working through things. But that would be the thing. Self-aware, great. Okay, what's my value system? Okay, we're on the same note. I'll give you an example. I was in a relationship, dating wise, wasn't commitment based relationship, with
Kicking
one of
it.
with one of the nicest people that you could ever meet. One of the nicest. But she had no level of value in contemporary culture, music. So she wasn't like really into, like, I like a couple songs or whatever, things that we relate to growing up with, nostalgia, me seeing a cassette on your shirt, things like that. She was just kind of like focused into what it was. So it got kind of hard to have in-depth, reflective, different kind of conversations.
Relatable experiences.
Right. With this very nice person. And I knew that I valued new books, old movies, like these things that, are, I'm a deep thinker and all of these things that were important to me. The fact that she was a nice, great person, I knew from a relationship and a growth perspective, even though she was accommodating and those types of things, our value system still, I'm not like, oh, this girl is horrible. And not at all. It doesn't always have to be that he's a monster, she's gotten taken advantage of, or whatever. It's good to identify those things early on in the dating process,
right,
as well, because they do become problems later on. Well, you never want to go anywhere, or you never, like, I didn't want to go anywhere to begin with, or I didn't watch those things to begin with. Like, those things that you wind up arguing about 3 years later.
You mean like breaking up with your significant other over the Bulls playoffs because you like, I don't want to go to the Reggae Fest, I just want to watch the Bulls play, and I told you this is what it's all about.
That's what I was doing 7 years ago when we first met, and then 3 years ago when we started dating. Like, those are the things that come
Vince,
up.
I'm telling on myself.
I was leaving it generic in general, but
nice girl. I said nice girl, but the Bulls are on. I'm sorry. I'm going to watch the game.
And it's no, like, let me put the balance in there, because I don't want the chat box flying, or that, see, the nice girls don't get the, but it could be, I'm a woman, and I can say that. It could be, I'm a woman and I like watching the Real Housewives, and we've got a TV that, Sunday at 8 o'clock or whenever it comes on, that's like my thing. But you're trying to turn to the Sunday night football game when, so everyone has their, so I don't want to paint it out to like nice girls finish last, and not at all. I can say this because we know one another, we're brothers. You couldn't be talking to two more nice, or listening to two more nice, accommodating guys. We are, team players. It's not about, I need this and where's my dinner and unga bunga. Like, we're not cavemen by any stretch of the imagination. But I do think that it's important for those things to be identified very early. And then you kind of like make the connections from there, as opposed to like, he doesn't like this and I like that, but we'll make it work. No, identify your values and see what feels good from there.
Oh, no doubt, bro. But it's funny because I had revisited that with a friend of mine talking about the fact that, here it was, if you could replay certain steps in your life, would have been different. And I was like, no, I don't want to replay any of those steps because I'm at the place I'm at now because of those experiences.
Absolutely.
I've gotten to the place where now hey man, it'll be 20 years. I'm married in December 16th. Queen's sitting upstairs doing her thing, working from home. So it's like, man, I'm all good. But the funny part about it is that when I look back on it, literally it is 1996 and the Bulls were playing, and with all the stuff with Scotty and
you didn't say it was 96. That's a whole nother Bulls conversation. Like 96 and 2016 Bulls conversation are two different conversations.
Yeah, this was the final run. I mean, so when I saw that the last run or whatever they called it on the show, and I'm
Last Dance. Right.
I'm reliving that,
right.
living in DC, and I was like, yo, I don't know if we're gonna make it to the playoffs next year. I don't know what's gonna happen. So I'm watching all the games right now. I need to get my Michael fix on because this is my team, and then I can get the chance to act a fool in DC and rock my Chicago stuff all day long. So I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but let me throw this in as we're talking about relationships and things. And I've been on relationship panels and different things over the years. Here's something I've never said though, is that I'm divorced and my ex-wife and I went to the same high school, went to the same college. We didn't date during those periods. We were just, so it becomes very familial when your alma mater is my alma mater and your mascot is my mascot. And, these.
It's comfort level. It's comfort level.
Absolutely. Man, I went into my marriage with a person who definitively, we dated for 2 years, engaged for a year, married. So we were dating for 3 years before we both said I do, definitively helped me become a much, 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 much better person. And the one thing that I asked for going into that relationship was, Lord, give me somebody that I can grow with. I didn't ask for a lot of other things, and now I've known to build in more in terms of, what it is that you would ask for. But that's the thing that I asked for, and I got a person who was an incredible representation of helping me become a better person, because I was already, let's say, well-read and things of that nature. But, it's 1997, and she's like, hey, where would you like to travel? I was like, LA. And we have to remember, this is pre-internet. Like, everybody thinks that Dubai is normal now. Whereas, in 1997, a trip to New York was a big deal, or a trip to Atlanta was a big deal if you were from Chicago. Like, that was, so she was like, where do you want to travel? I was like, LA. And she was like, no, like, really travel. And here's my words, 1997, 27 years old. I was like, everything I need is in the States. What do you mean? We prior to this internet technological age, we really only places we saw internationally were Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, The Love Boat, and Fantasy Island. Exactly. Like, we didn't see the world on TV or MTV or what have you. She was like, no, you need to travel. You need to see some things. You need to, and she really opened my mind to so many different things that I would not have been exposed to. So, things have, like, their seasons and their places. And I'm mapping that back to you saying, I wouldn't change a thing. Like, literally, even on divorce, like, I received what it is that I asked for. It didn't, make it through a full tenure, I guess you could say, till death do us part. But I can't change that, because that dynamic of my life helped me become the person that I am today. So I can't take out any one component and say, I wouldn't do that again, or that was horrible. All of those have led me up to the happiness, the bliss, and the peace and things that I have today. Absolutely.
So when you found yourself into that adversity, where did you find the courage?
Oh man, I'm courage personified.
Hey, bro,
Let me just put it to you like this. When I worked corporately at my last job, I was a director for an information technology company. So I'm burning a candle at night, working as a DJ during the weekend, and then I'm working by day as a project manager, director for a company. They used to bring me in to client engagements for me to talk to the client on projects that I was not a part of, because they were like, you've got the stomach to deliver the bad news in a way that they're going to receive it. So I'm always the bad guy, meaning that if it's a boardroom table or a conference room table and everybody's like, hey, any questions at the end? And your boss and the project team just said a lot of shit that didn't make sense at all. And they're like, any questions? I'm like, yeah, that's stupid. The client won't like it. It won't work for this reason. Can we do this in a better way? Like my mom raised me to be seen and to be heard respectfully, never insubordinate, never like bouncing on the table, whatever. But she taught me to think for myself, process information, and challenge. So I say that to say that when it came time for a relationship or a job or I need a raise or whatever, man, I speak so comfortably because that was how I was raised. So I've never been conflict adverse. Now I'm not pro conflict, like, yeah, let's like, I haven't been in a fight since college, and that was over a person who will remain. But her boyfriend, like the girl who invited you over, like her boyfriend wasn't happy with the invitation that I got.
I'm like, Snoop, your chick chose me.
30 years ago. So,
right.
I mean, I'm not that guy that's like, and like you stepped on my shoe. I'm not talking that kind of conflict. I'm talking life-oriented things that need some level of addressing. I'm the addresser. I have no problem saying, let's get to the bottom.
So Vince, imagine that a young person is watching this and just saying, I don't have what that is. Mom, dad, whatever the case may be, I'm not raised like that, but I need that because I'm in a situation X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. What would you say to help them in a sense to just kind of lay 3 things out to say, this is how you get the gumption. This is how you get some courage about what you got to do. This is how you get some backbone and stand up like you got some sense. Knowing that they're honestly saying, I just don't have it.
First point, 1, the 4 agreements. I think the first agreement in the book, the 4 agreements, is number 1, don't take anything personal. So if you can remove the personal dynamic from any interaction, it becomes fact-based, it becomes information-based, data-based, not me against you, or I got to prove my point. So if you factor that into it, 1, don't take anything personal. 2, everybody to a person is just doing the best that they can. To a person, I don't think that there's anyone that's homeless who wants to be homeless. I don't think that there's anybody who's gangbanging who wants to gangbang, just relative to environment, information, all of those different dynamics. I don't think that there's anybody that's cheating that's like, I want to be a cheater. No, they probably want to be a good person. They just, for whatever their wiring is, whatever their experience is, whatever, like, they're doing the best that they can. And that's not to condone cheating. I just threw that out there as something that we don't like in behavior, but so game banging, all of these things. So
expect the best intention.
Right. Well, no, I can't say best intentions.
Okay.
And that's thank you for saying that. That's a distinction that I want to make. They're doing the best that they can. They may have ill intent. But just based on environment, wiring, information, whatever it is.
Simply they're doing the best that they can.
A sucky boss is doing the best that they can. That to take the relation, because anytime you put, I'm not trying to flip any triggers, but we've all had a sucky boss. The boss is doing the best that they can.
Man, V, don't take me down this route, bro. I can tell you about some sucky bosses.
Right. So that's the 2 things that keep in the back of your mind. 3, as long as I'm speaking to you out of respect for our dynamic, you're my buddy, you're my teacher, you're my boss, you're my whatever. As long as I'm talking to you out of that dynamic, there is nothing that I can say that is off limits if I'm not attacking you personally. And I understand that you're doing the best that you can, but I have to address this thing that is heavy on me, that needs to be, like, that's all I can stand. I can't stand no more. Whatever it is, if you come at it from those 3 things, you should always, whether it's at a hotel, I'm not happy with something in the room, it doesn't matter what rental car place, whatever it is, if you take those three things into account, one, I'm not taking this personal. Two, they're doing the best that they can. Three, I'm going to approach this as a matter of respect. Be, fact filled or data oriented in your presentation, not personal, but this needs to be addressed. Anybody should be able to address anything with those three things kept in mind.
And you came from this. I heard you say something about the 4 agreements. Mm-hmm. Is that something that is is a book or something like that, or something that somebody could probably pick up? Or
the 4 agreements is a book that's been translated probably into, I think the author's name is Don Miguel Ruiz. It's been translated probably into like 30, 40 languages. It's like one of those kind of books, short read, and what I'll do is I'm being the nerd, the tech guy that I am, I'm going to come over here and put in his name. He's a Mexican author.
Okay.
And put in what these agreements are, because I think that since we've kind of, addressed this, here are the 4 agreements. 1, be impeccable with your word. 2, don't take anything personally. 3, don't make assumptions. 4, always do your best. That's the nature. That's what the 4 agreements are. It's a very short read, but it's just kind of like a guide to life, if you will, that if you do these 4 things to the best of your ability, you kind of get to live a pretty easy life in temperament and disposition. Not to say that conflict and challenges don't come, but those 4 things: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personal, don't make assumptions, and 4, always do your best. You do those things, you get through the challenges, but you do it just with a little bit more, happiness and a little bit more stillness in your peace.
See, bro, that's why you on the show, bro. You too near me not to hear me.
Oh yeah, I'm nerd personified, brother.
You grew me on that one, man. I'll take that one. That's always something, and I'm always looking for just something that helps us get through the human existence a little bit easier. And unfortunately, because of nature of the human body and the human person in themselves, if you want to hide something from them, you stick it in a book. And I hate just saying that and just leaving it there as what it is. Let me kind of just unpack that real quick. The body naturally wants to rest. That's why it's hard to work out. That's why it's hard to get up. It's hard to do the things that are chores that you got to get up to do this. Because the body naturally wants to be at rest. And within that, your mind is constantly speaking to you and telling you all kinds of different messages about, I work out every morning in the pool. Every morning in the pool. Since this COVID thing, and I got the pool back open again. So, dude, every morning, 5 o'clock, I'm walking the dog. 5:30, I'm in the pool. I can tell you the same messages that happen over and over and over and over again. It's the self-talk that's in your head. Mm-hmm. Like either you're going to bend in, well, you know what, maybe I should just take today off. I'm feeling tired, or, I'm doing this every day. I don't see any results or something like that. Your mind is telling you all kinds of things. It is the ability to just simply just let it keep on talking. You just keep moving in the direction you're supposed to. Now that's moving when you're doing it in a right way. You break down some things about, just finding the courage. And I love the 4 agreements and just what you said first. And don't take it personal. Like I sometimes don't take it personal that my mind is telling me something that's completely opposite of what I know that I should be doing. All right, cool. You want to act like that? We're going to go into the pool anyway. We're going to do not an hour and a half. We're going to do 2 hours a day. Now what? And at the end of it, I always find myself saying, dang, I'm so glad I did that. And so,
Now, I was going to say, if you want to nerd out, I can give you books on what you just said as well.
Oh, bro, let's do it. Do it. Give it here.
All right. So for what it is that you're referring to now, there are 2 people, and I don't want to mess up this name, so I'm going to say it because it is.
It's a little special. It's got a couple of syllables in it.
So
Consonants.
the name of the book is What to Say When You Talk to Yourself.
Mm.
And you can follow this guy on Facebook. He drops incredible quotes every day. Dr. Shad Helmstetter, Helm Stetter. Dr. Shad Helmstetter. Now you know I had to look it up. But the
Yeah.
name of the book is What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And basically, it's a book about self-programming, why people are the way that they are, why they say the things that they say, whatever. And it really is because of the repetitive loops that we have and the conversations that we have back and forth. And he gives you some hacks. And there's other books that we can come back on another show that kind of like even more simplify, those things. So between Dr. Shad Helmstetter and Dr. Joe Dispenza, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, those two books have created an incredible understanding of the way that the mind works. And then the best application of it is a book called Atomic Habits, where he takes and Atomic Habits is written by James Clear. So those three people, Dr. Shad Helmstetter on What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, Dr. Joe, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and then Atomic Habits by James Clear. These are three books that I've read, or three authors that that I follow, or they've got everything from blogs that you can subscribe to and get updates. They've got YouTube videos, so if you're not a reader, you can still get the benefit. Or Dr. Helmstetter has a Facebook page that you can be a fan of, like his page, get us daily reminders of what to say when you talk to yourself. I mean, everything starts internally. Everything starts with a thought. Everything starts with the thought. And if you can learn to master your thoughts, then everything really becomes simple from there.
So I like the way that you've turned into that direction, because I think about now, many of us are sitting at home, either still employed or not employed, whatever the case may be. You're trying to figure out, okay, well, what am I going to do next? This is a very strange situation. I got to figure something out, and I'm ready to do something. This is a personal story for me, because I have now taken on a different point of view than what I've always traditionally been. I've been an educator for 25 plus years, always been in schools, love doing it. And I've made the personal choice to step away from that because of this entire thing that's going on in the health pandemic. And also I've done my tour duty. I have done what I feel like, I've served honorably and well, honorable discharge. I'm out of here. And now I'm on to the next thing. And the thing that, and you and I have talked about this in the past, because you have been on previous show that I have been on at Intellectual Radio. This is where my heart is. Like this thing right here was where my heart is. So I want people to really kind of clearly understand about You Too Near Me Not to Hear Me was that May 2nd was my first show of this year. This is probably over 25 shows in. You make, I think, the 28th show since May 2nd. So people are like, oh, you've just been doing this. I'm like, no, this is just something that I said, okay, I'm going to figure out how to do this. And you're right. I simply said in self-talk, quit talking about doing these kinds of things and just do it. So get up, turn a computer on. How do you turn a Zoom call into something that you want to record? Okay. How do you set that up and put it on the YouTube? Okay. All right, then go. I could hear all the other things that were going on in my head. Well, oh, you don't know about this. You don't know about this side. You don't know the technical side. Just go, move forward and do. And it's funny how that during this kind of walk that I've taken, information has come and gravitated towards me. And it's been at the right time when I can accept it and make a move. And being able to just say, okay, I want to get certain people, like it was perfect to have you in at this time. As we're thinking about the self-care and things like that. It's like I think things align kind of quickly. Anybody who's out there who's watching this and probably just trying to say, well, this is great. You guys are, you've been successful at what you're doing. You have the right mindset. I just don't have it. And I'm simply to tell you that nobody walks this earth perfect. I've got my faults and have tried to figure things out and failed too. I think that my attitude now is that you're going to miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. That's simply it. You're going to miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I'd rather miss 50% in knowing that I got half a chance to hit it or I missed it. At least I put the shot up. And I think that's what makes people, particularly young people, pause, or people who are trying to transition into something. I don't know what to do. What are your thoughts, man?
I've got a show. You can see it behind me. It's called The Voices of House Music. Very much like you. I started my first episode in May, and it's been incredible. And I did my last taping on Sunday, and I said, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So, it just aired yesterday. And then so it's just committed to the ether at that point. So we're certainly on the same page. Here's what I'll say is that if people can master this one understanding, their entire lives will change. And that sounds very, hyperbolic. And
come on, bro, break it down.
There's one thing. Life is not about your question. Life is not about the answers to your questions. Life is about the questions you ask. Because the brain is a heat-seeking mechanism. Your brain will always gravitate to the question. So you have to become very smart about the questions that you ask yourself. Why am I so dumb? Why am I not this? Your brain will come up with answers when you ask those questions. When you ask, how can I figure? How can I get to where I want to go? Your brain actually starts to move in that direction. So every conversation that we have in our head is our minds responding to the questions that we're asking. How do I feel? What's the temperature? What should I wear? Like literally you're asking and responding to questions. If you can become, you being, person in general, more conscious of the questions that you're at. How can I make this work? How does this person become successful? How does this, if you start asking those types of questions, your brain will start to push you in the lifeline that creates the answers that you're looking for. The same way when you don't want to check the mail because you're like, oh, what's in the mail? And whatever it is that you're like focusing on, you start to get more of that. So if you can actually start to program the questions that you're asking yourself and start to become not good at answering the questions that are coming up haphazardly, but good at planting better questions, man, how do I get, this to work on Zoom? Well, I saw this. I wonder how that guy, I'm going to watch 2 episodes of that show in order to at least look at the environment and maybe, well, what does this sound card do? Well, is it better to do this on a PC or Mac? Like, if you start to ask those types of questions, it takes you off of the problem and moves you closer to the solution.
Ooh. What's the name of the show, bro? You to hear me, not to hear me. Oh my goodness, man. And the funny thing about it is, Vince, what I love about this is that this is an opportunity for people just to kind of peel into a conversation that you and I just kind of regularly have. Like we just go kind of back and forth on this kind of thing. We're sitting at dinner somewhere and, and whoever's at the table around us is just having to kind of E.F. Hutton us and, and checking us out. And it's like, hey, what are they saying? Getting a good listen in. And so I think
it's always good to be a fly on the wall of a progressive conversation.
Oh my goodness, man. So, one of the things I love about surrounding myself with good people, and this is, where I take into this. When you surround yourself with good people who have good intentions about you and about seeing the support of you and things like that from your wife or spouse or husband, whoever it is, friends, family, relatives, it doesn't make a difference. Whoever it is that has good intentions about you, they will drop nuggets of knowledge on you in just the simplest form that will make you just take off and explode. Just because you know that it's coming from a place from them that is of his best intention. Case in point, I'm in the pool working out. And my guy from the west side of Chicago who lives out here in Paradise Valley, shout out to my boy Dwayne Sansoni, he sent me just simply a text. He said, Law number 25, reinvent yourself. This is at 6 o'clock in the morning. So we're on the same time zone. He knows I'm in the pool. Like, why are you up at 6 o'clock in the morning? And why did you just come to you to just say, law number 25, reinvent yourself? It comes from a book that we both share and we've read. And I believe you read it too. It's the 48 Laws of Power.
48 Laws of Power. Yeah, for
Robert
sure.
Greene.
Robert Greene. Yep.
And so, man, sometimes when people take in that kind of care about you and just simply do something really small and simple, like I could really see you sending to somebody who's probably been struggling. You know, life is not about the answers, it's about the questions that you ask. And you just simply send that out to them. That's a powerful statement just about who you are and how you feel about that person and how it's the right time, it's the right place, right? Or it just may be the thing that needs to be said, needs to be heard. From your perspective, why is it sometimes that, you know, you take in that chance or that opportunity just to say it and walk away from it? You just let it go. And you don't follow up, you don't say, what causes you to just say, okay, I think somebody needs to hear this? Where do you think that comes from?
Comes from two things. One, just connection. Everything is energy. So you're always connected. You know, whether you choose to tune in is a different story, but we're always connected. So, you know, I many times see things in people, see things in dynamics, and my advice, my sharing is always tailored to what it is that I see in them. And so sometimes, and more times than not, I mean, it's happened when people have seen things in me as well. Sometimes you see things in a person that they don't see in themselves. It's a great opportunity to you know, share in a very progressive way, not a critical or like, here's what you could be doing, but like, wow, you know, here's a great opportunity. And this is something that I see that is special in you that not everybody can pull this off, but you've got what it takes to make it happen. I've sent that type of message or had that type of reflection many times, but the blessing is I've gotten on the call after one of my shows of the Voices of House Music where people have said, dude, this is big. Like, I'm talking about legends or people who, you know, have a huge, you know, catalog of accomplishments. They're like, you're doing something very, you know, so people have seen the same in me to pick up the phone. And, you know, I don't mind saying I'm finalizing everything for a Sirius XM show right now that's going to debut in September, and some other things that are happening more as the year came about.
That's what's up, baby. Congrats on that, baby.
Thank you. So it's because people have seen things in me as well. So it's that connection, but at the same time, not blocking that energy, just allowing it to, you know, come your way, and then you bounce it back out to the person that you want to be the object of that sharing. It's that's what we're here for. That exchange.
No doubt. All right, bro. Let's talk about the elephant in the room with purple, with pink dots and red, orange hair. And so, what a historic week last week, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We got
congrats to our VP to be.
Yes, Miss Kamala Harris, who I will tell you honestly, man, at the time when we were going through initial primaries and going through the race and the whole nine, that's who I really originally wanted. Like, she was the person who I was like, you know,
for president.
For president.
Right, gotcha.
Now, but I knew at the time in my mind that was going to be the stretch. Like, that was going to be a long pull. But I thought she had just enough of it to just say, okay, we can do this. When she dropped out of the race, I was just like, wow, did not expect that, did not see that coming. I really was hoping she would kind of push for a little bit forward. We can make this thing happen. But I told my wife and a few other people, I said, I guarantee you this. Now that I'm looking like we're seeing who this guy is that's going to be in the office, Joe Biden, I said, his VP is going to be Kamala Harris. I said this a long, long time ago, and I said it was based upon that exchange that they had during the debates when she attacked at him. I mean, when she came guns loaded. And she did it softly. She hit him with the smooth slickness. And he didn't even see it coming. Like, even in his answer, he's like, wow, I did not see that coming. Like, where did that? Like, he wanted to check his earpiece. He didn't have one in his ear because he hit him with it, right?
Right.
And so I said, because here is a person who is going to professionally call you on your ish and make you step up to it.
Mm-hmm.
And he had, whatever he did to reset himself and, his gumption to get himself together. But I said, at that point, that was going to happen. I saw the other people on the list and things like that. And I was like, no, it's going to come right back to her. I guarantee it. When it happened, man, dude, Vince, I was no happier than anybody else. I was happy, obviously, for the fact that I think this was the right choice. But more than anything, I think I was happy about the fact that it has historical reference for women, but in particularly African American women or Black women.
Sure.
But it's no sooner than I thought about it and it happened, the very thing that popped into my head was, here it comes. Here it comes. It's going to be about her record and what she did, as a state's attorney. It's going to be about her record in the Senate. It's going to be about, I didn't even see them coming up with the birther kind of thing. Like, dude, she's from Oakland. you can't get no blacker in the States than Oakland, California.
Right.
Like, come on, man, for real. I mean, okay, Barack is Hawaii, okay, but this is Oakland,
right?
So I started to feel the lump in my throat, and I was just like, oh man, the attacks are about to come, the foolishness of it all. And I will tell you, as much hope as I have, and I have to underline it with hope, as much hope as I have that things are going to go right, that this election will go right, that votes will get counted, that people who mail in their ballots will get them represented, that we won't have this funniness about the Electoral College and, losing by margins that are like in these small percentages, and people actually get up and go and vote, or at least put their ballots in the mail, and that there's not fraud or anything else. That if everything goes right, dude, I think the right team will win overall. But I say all that, Vince, with a trepidation in my thoughts. It's not about the things that I can see. It's about that I worry about are the things that I cannot see, the things that are clearly going on. It's like the never let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Well, that's what this dude is in the office doing. We don't know about that. We could see the stuff that they've uncovered and found out, and it's in the news, and he even puts it in the news. It's the stuff that we don't know that makes me worried. That isn't even a question. It's just where my thoughts is, bro. I just, I'm sharing one boy VA, man.
I can. Hey, it's DD and VA, man. I've got something for that.
Come on.
First off, I got a call from my mom. She was like, "You called it." I didn't see it coming, but yeah. So I was right there with you back in February or whatever.
Boom.
I was like, it's Kamala. Like it can't be anybody else. Like this person, this person, that is. She was like, I don't see it. I was like, it's her. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I'm gonna take it off politics for 2 seconds. You cannot be a DJ and not have an ego. You can be a DJ and not be arrogant. But you can't be a DJ and not have an ego. And what I mean by that is if you're in front of people and you like, put your hands up, jump around, turn around, whatever that is, you have to have a certain level, and you can be a female, whatever, like you have to have a certain presence to project that out to 200, 500, 2,000, whatever the crowd is. You can't be back like, I hope they like this song, but so there's a certain level of presence that you have to be a DJ. Why do I say that?
And that's verbal and nonverbal.
Absolutely. No, it doesn't have to be that you're, like I said, it's not that you're arrogant. It's not that you have to be a person that talks or any of those things. You just have to have a presence that makes you feel comfortable that when I do this, that's the reaction that I'm getting real time from people. That takes a certain level of self-comfort, confidence, other things, which boils down to ego. ego has a negative connotation. I mean it just in the pure sense of the word. Like I said, not arrogant. You have to have that presence. Why do I say that? You can't have a politician where everybody likes the record that they have. You can't have, like, they're politicians. They've said, done things that you aren't always going to be in favor of. So if anyone is looking for the spotless political record, that person doesn't exist, because you can't be a politician of a certain platform, of a certain presence, of a certain, without that. Like, you're never going to get a politician that, you know what, I just love their record on marijuana and, jail reform. And like, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, even Obama was not necessarily pro same-sex marriage in 2009 when he took office. So, I mean, the people do evolve, things do change along the way. Don't get lost in the weeds, cut your nose off to spite your face, throw the baby out with the bathwater, whatever, thing we want to come up with. We've only got one job here, which is to get Trump out of, like, all these other opinions and everything. Like, I feel the same about, like, you've kind of missed something if you're thinking that Joe Biden, Kamala Harris's record is anything relative to the degradation of society that has been created by this dude being in office. I'm not saying that having them in will make it perfect. I'm saying we can at least restore some level of balance. Now, all that being said, I go back to law number 25. Reinvent yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what people should be thinking in 2020. Never before in the history of man, in the history of technology, has a person had the ability to move from point A to point F any faster than we do now, financially, status-wise, life dynamic, state to state, which means that you could actually position yourself so that the person that's elected doesn't have an immediate consequence on your life. I would kind of be putting my focus and effort and energy in that, while staying tuned, while promoting, while, still, I'm not saying detached, because you have to be explicit, because people throw,
you gotta be clear, man.
Yeah, because people will take it. No, I'm not saying that.
Vince said just unplug. Don't even pay no attention to it. No, he didn't.
Right, absolutely. But what I'm saying is that if it's me and my 3 kids and my husband, my first thought is, how can I secure us so that regardless of what goes down, we're here. I had this thought of this side business. I had this thought of this tax shelter. I had whatever that thing is for you and your family. Work on that, because we can't control the mail system and the right hand of this talking to, like, the things that we're in control of. We're not necessarily positioning ourselves individually to be somewhat inoculated from all of the foolishness that goes around. And we have a lot more control over that than we do over what it is that they do. So I say that to say we've got one job, get Trump out, but the other thing is reinvent yourself. Put yourself in a position where you're not necessarily as immediately affected, and it's a lot easier to project that change out to a politician or who's in office than it is to take responsibility or say that I've got a lot more access to things. My kid always wanted to learn about computer science. Let me call up Harold, who I know could help mentor them while they're doing this. And, true story, my frat brother, his son made so much money mowing lawns this summer that they had to buy a truck or something with the money that he made mowing lawns as an 8th grader. There are things that you can do that, if we really put our minds to it, put us in a different state. Then, so people say, I don't have time, or I'm already taxed out. Like, man, there's so many different ways to slice this pie in 2020 that we did not have access to even 5 years ago. Reinvent yourself. But at the same time, let's, know where our bread is buttered, and it's not with Trump.
You heard it here, folks, man. You too near me not to hear me, man. And that's spoken from the truth. That ain't no if, ands, or buts about it, man. I love it, man. No, I just I think in the conversations that I'm having with, partners of mine, I love to enjoy cigars with my boys out here. We have our group called Tap That Ash. And we get into these really kind of, great discussions about, what's happening in politics, things like that. But then I find that we always kind of circle back into what are we doing for each other? What are we doing to further what we want to do and what we want to get accomplished? So from that, conversations have popped up that we've now gotten an investment group. And we control a certain amount of money that we're investing into it. We've got now something that deals in with mentoring and helping kids on top of the other things that are happening. So we're thinking about not only our kids that we know as a group, but the kids that are further outside of it. Just continuing to be supportive for members in the group as they're going through life. We have a member that now whose father just passed from COVID. So now just, making sure that we make that connection with them and do the kind of the soft touches to make sure that we know that, we got support. I think the greatest value of all this time has been is that even in the midst of what has been this health pandemic and the social pandemic where we feel secluded, where Vince, you and I, we would have been, hey, Drew, I'm flying in town. I'll see you in a little bit. Now we're like, all right, dude, we can jump on a Zoom call and talk for a little bit.
Right.
I ain't coming to Chicago and you ain't coming to Phoenix. So it ain't just going to happen right now.
Right.
So, I think that that our antennas and our receptors are open to continuing these connections, even though they've been augmented, and how much of a value that these things are now. Your show, for instance, had a great value. Just in some of just throw out one of the simplest questions that you put out there, and all of a sudden, because I saw the feed on it, it was a very, very simple question. What was your question from the show this weekend?
Oh, I mean, I've got you. Wait, do you mean? Oh, no. So you mean from the party?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I've got like, blessed to say, so many different things going on. Like the house music. No, you're saying. So let me set the stage for this. I created a party that's coming up, and depending on when you've seen this, it's already taken place. But it's called the Singles Brunch, the Sunday Singles Brunch.
That's it.
So on the Sunday Singles Brunch, I started posing these questions, and I could see that people weren't getting how you could ask questions and get responses live at a virtual party. So I do virtual parties, and Twitch is my platform of choice because they're friendly to DJs at this point, and I can do a lot of things graphically. So I decided to have a party before the Singles Brunch to demo to people exactly how can you have a live interactive experience with people. And I won't get into what that party was called, but it had its own fun, its own dynamic, hundreds of people in. And what they can do is options come up on the screen and you can press on your keyboard or your phone, like you're in the chat, and vote live time. So, just think about it's America's Funniest Home Videos, and the audience is in the crowd with their selector of pick what's the best. I can do that from the comfort of your home in Arizona, the comfort of a person's home in the Netherlands, and they can play and see live things happening on the screen. So I say all that to say that I showed an example in the video so that people could get this live interactive understanding. And the question was, if you were on a date or out with someone you were dating and you saw an ATM balance right there on their receipt, would you, one, ignore it, two, hand it to them without looking and say, here's your receipt, or three, bump that, I'm looking? And so what this is an opportunity for people to get connected because we're interacting with one another in this desperate meaning separated environment where I'm like racking my brain in a fun way to find ways for us to stay connected, even though we're decentralized or even though everyone's in their own silo, bring it back together. So that's one of the things that I did is come up with an online polling system where people can actually share and interact live time in a chat and quantify what the results are. So it's one thing when you just see a lot of things going through a chat, but when you actually get to see the static numbers of voted here, this percentage voted there. So that's one of the things that I'm doing to help us come closer together. So like to your point, that's what I've been doing is what can I do in an entertainment fashion now that the festivals are gone, now that the summer vacations are gone, now that all of these things from an entertainment value, the first summer in our lives ever have been absolutely cut off. What is it that I can do from a technological, from an entertainment, from a DJ, from a musical standpoint that kind of keeps us sane, gives us a few hours of mental, vacation and relief. But at the same time, it's not just, well, there he is live and he's DJing again. Well, there he is and he's another song, but he's, that I understand again, and that being self-aware, you can only do that, but so many times before people are like, let's click the channel to something else. So how can I diversify and still make it engaging? Well, now I'm bringing you into the party physically. I can show people around the country in my party. I can have people physically, give an answer that you see on the screen. And it's not just, we took an opinion in a survey and here were the results. No, you're seeing the results in the survey happening full time. So just now injecting this level of realism, this level of real time results into the entertainment world for us to all still stay connected.
Love it, man. And that's the thing.
And just for the record, half of the people said that they were looking at the bank balance on the receipt. Just
yeah, I saw that, man, because I was like, I don't know how I would actually answer that. And I was sitting there as I'm watching that going, I was just like, but I really want to take a look at the balance. And a part of me is saying, it's like my wife and I are in the car. And I'm driving, as I pretty much am always doing. We stop at the bank. She's like, can you take some money out? I throw her card in. I know her code. When the money and the receipt come out, I simply just grab everything and I just hand it. Ain't none of this like, hey, what's going on with that? I'm like, I'm not doing. I get into that. I get into that thing.
I'm gonna break in. Y'all been living with each other for 20 something years, married now for 20. So my point is that you have a proven entity relative to your dynamic. The X factor comes in on that first date, that third date so I'm not saying that there aren't people that wouldn't have looked at 20 years in if it's a separate account, but the kind of like the thing that as not being a single guy since the 20th century, that, and that's why we encourage couples to come in and play with us as well to give, dynamics and advice in the party. But if you're not in a proven relationship, I'm sure that there's a much higher level of curiosity as to what this person's financial condition is than, I'm with my wife for 20 years.
I don't know, dog. I mean, it's just that's the part that catches me because.
Okay, again, let me go back to who you and I are. We're kind of like, for lack of a better word, people were boring and predictable. So, yeah, I mean, like, Kalila, she'll tell you, yeah, he does this, and like, I don't really have like 20 different sides, or like, so we're kind of like like we're metronome kind of guys.
Right.
Most people are a little bit more wily, a little bit more unpredictable. So you can't put that question through your processor because you probably are more the exception than the rule in human nature in that regard. You don't have that same curiosity bone that a lot of people do. I don't either. My answer would be I'm ignoring it.
Yeah.
But as you can see, we're in the minority.
And I saw the answers. I was like, for real? You said pump it? You just gonna check it out? Like, how you gonna do that? Are you just gonna look at it and then hand it to them as you're looking at it? Like, damn, what's up with that? I need that.
Right.
Can a brother get a stack?
So that's what I mean by the quantifying of it. I was able to quantify that we're in the minority because proven relationship or otherwise, we wouldn't look. I wouldn't look. I just don't have that level of curiosity. Kalila asked me questions all the time. I'm like, I didn't even think to ask. And she's like, well, because I didn't even think to ask. Like, it didn't even occur to me. Like, my level of curiosity doesn't make me say, well, why did that person do this? It didn't even occur to me to ask. So if you're not of a curious nature, then you're never really like, trying to
Trying to
get
hustle, trying to
side.
hustle the numbers. Like, well, some of that. Yeah, no,
Right,
I get it,
right.
man.
But most people are just by nature, which is what really makes the interactive poll experience next level, because you're seeing the reactions in live time with people like, I can't believe they voted like that. Oh, hell yeah, I feel like you're getting to see it live time. And so that's what makes me excited about putting the singles and the couples in the room and just having everybody duke it out and just forget about everything that's happening in the world for a minute.
For real. Tell me about it, man, because more than anything else, man, it's enough to bear on your shoulders. And if you get caught up and deep up into it, man, I can see some people, they crawl up in a hole and they're just like, I'm done. I'm tired
Right.
of it. I get it. I get it, man. Vince Evans, Adams, Vince
Well,
Evans, Vince Evans, because it slipped on there because
well,
he's my favorite. He's my favorite black quarterback for the.
I'm like, if I get two V's, Vince Evans and Vince Carter. So hey, I'm among that's royalty. I'll take it.
But you VA, baby.
Only one.
Dude, do you know I still have my original VA CD, bro?
They're in the cloud, but I've got them too.
With the blue background. I gotta send out a shout to my boy Chris Waters, man.
I'm sure I've got one around here somewhere.
Chris Waters was like, dude, you know Vince? Yeah, I know Vince. He's like, dude, you gotta get this. And I was like, man, dude, it was so bad. My car got broken too when I was in DC. They got my Vince Adams CD. I didn't care anything about the stereo equipment. They grabbed my house CDs, and this is a place of go-go and hip-hop. I was like, what do you all want with house music CDs?
I've had South African stories about the CD, Puerto Rico stories about the CD, ex-boyfriend, he took my CD when we broke up. Like, I heard the CD came out in 1998, the first one. There were 5 altogether, but a 4-part series. One was a double CD, and I've heard stories for the last 20 years about these CDs. That's a blessing. I had to
fly back in town, get my sister go get me another copy. So I was on my way back to have I was like,
Shouts out to Dr. Wax in George's music room for all the years.
Man, dude.
And JR's music and it was crazy.
I picked one up at Midway when I was there. I was like, hey, you got another one. I'm like, I got this, man. I got to have my VA CD. Yeah, man. Right. No doubt about it. This, bro, we could talk forever, man. We could literally talk forever. But I want to throw this out to you last, man. Sure. I had this one thing that was left on there, and you really kind of touched upon a lot of the things that I wanted to go. Thank you, man, so much for the books. The 4 agreements, what to say when to talk to yourself, the breaking habits,
breaking the habit of being yourself,
and atomic habits.
Yep.
Awesome books, love it. Because I was going to ask you what are
and all available except for what to say when you talk to yourself. I think they're all available on Audible. So 3 of those are available as Audible books, and what to say when you talk to yourself, a little smaller publication, but maybe about 250-page book, easy read.
Love it.
I got a huge Audible library as well.
I got one too, man. I find myself in the car. My wife has turned me on to being an NPR nerd. I was the first one to tell you, man. I get in the car and I'm bumping some music. I want to tune out. But now I'm an NPR kind of dude. I got Audible going. She rubbed off on me, man.
But you're on the future too, man. I mean, Spotify podcasts, so the next thing for, right here, us being near, is converting this to a Spotify and an Apple podcast. That's Voices of House Music. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple. It's like people in their car, they want to take this conversation along for the ride as well, man. There it is.
Let's make it happen. Dude, I'm gonna ask you, and not in my last question, which was 5 pieces of advice, books or tips. I'm gonna ask, what are your 5 things that you would say to someone so they can simply just start to begin to have fun?
Begin to have fun?
Just simply begin to have some fun.
Oh man, okay, I love that. 1, don't take yourself so serious.
Okay. So take some risks.
No, don't take yourself so serious. Like literally, I mean, like be okay with laughing at yourself. Like,
Okay.
yeah, like not even related to anything other than like, damn, am I really on here and I need a haircut and I didn't shave? Oh, here I am. Like,
That's
hey,
why I got the headphones on, man. I'm just like, man, I know I'm looking bad.
right. You know, Dan, no, pause this. I've got to go shave and my barber will come. No, don't take yourself that serious. It's not that big a deal.
Okay.
So that's a great way to have fun. 2, embrace technology. It's so many people like, I can't figure that out. And man, like there's so many benefits to technology. It could be a time. I got a clock back here. It's called the Lenovo Smart Clock. And it's a dynamic clock. And if I set an alarm, once the alarm goes off, I can say stop. Like no snooze button or anything. Or I can say snooze. Like the Lenovo Smart Clock. I mean, it's a Google Home type of device, but it's different. But it's a virtual alarm clock and all of these other things. It can, how long does it take to get to Midway? It'll give me that answer as well. So, so embrace technology. Like there's a lot of freedom that comes from not being afraid of technology. And there's a lot of constriction that comes from like, I can't figure that out. Not like it ain't that difficult. You don't have to program no computers. Like if it was don't be afraid of technology during basic programming language and COBOL, we might have a problem. But with everything that's like at the push of a button now, not that big of a deal. So 1, don't take yourself serious. 2, embrace technology. 3, be willing to put yourself out there in cyberspace or in social networking platforms. I say that for this reason. That doesn't mean create a Facebook account. I've got people that are on my Twitch parties who don't have a Facebook account, but they love Instagram. And so they don't have to create the same profile and they don't want to, like they could be a judge or they could be, a high level business owner that doesn't want a personal profile on Facebook, or, they provide services for clients, but they understand that you kind of got to be places where things are happening to find out what's happening. And nobody's running to your living room to say, here's where the fun is. It's like, man. So you have to be somewhere where the fun is being shared. And so you got to have a social network account in 2020 because we're not even physical.
At least a LinkedIn. Come on.
No, there ain't nothing fun happening on LinkedIn. So no. It's like, no, like I'm not saying don't have a LinkedIn account, but that ain't where to start.
That's not where the fun is at.
Right. Instagram, even, man, I mean, like Twitter is one of the best news and fun service. Like Black Twitter is incredible. So it's a whole lot of like, hey, D-Nice is doing this. Y'all need to be here. Or like, did you hear what they said about Kamala? Kamala, we gonna like Black right. Twitter is its own entity. So be somewhere. Instagram, Twitter, in order to be where the fun is taking place. So that's 3.
Not a MySpace account.
We'll talk to Tom about that. Wasn't that Tom? So 4, don't expect for things to be like they were. Some of the best house music is being made in this part of this century, the last 3-5 years. But people are like, it ain't like it used to be in 1985. No, it's actually better in some regards. But if we have to be open to it being better. Like there's some incredible movies that are being made now. Now, here's what I'll say. Do you sometimes have to, like wade through the muck in order to get to, there's a higher glut of movies, a higher glut of music in order to get to the quality. That's because everybody has a damn computer. We didn't have computers in 85 when I was a DJ, so everybody couldn't call themselves a DJ because you had to spend your lunch money on records. Like you had to have a record collection to be a DJ.
That's right.
fancy that. So you couldn't just show up at the party,
Wax.
all right, with your iPod, like, listen to me, I'm even dated here, with your iPhone or whatever, and say, I'm DJing the party from this. No, you have to have, like, speakers and turntables and all of that. So my point is that now that everybody has a camera on their phone, everybody has a beat machine on their iPad, everybody's a producer, everybody's a movie maker. So that means that things can get out a lot quicker than they could back in the days of Die Hard or Coming to America. Like, there's a whole lot more out there, but there's still good things that are out there. So don't expect for everything to be like what it used to be. Be open to what's new.
Get a Netflix account. Stop messing around. Get a Hulu.
You know what? Thank you for number 5. I'm going to make that number 5. Here's what I said on my show on Sunday. There's no reason that you could call yourself a music fan unless you're out of work. I'm sensitive to that. There's no reason that you can call yourself a music fan and say that you're not willing to buy or spend money at least on 2 streaming services. 2, like, 1 is not enough. Here's why. They all do something different. And do I have a little time to explain to kind of create some clarity around this? All right. So let me share with these 3 things, the 3 major differences between Tidal, Spotify, and Apple Music.
Okay, break it down, bro.
Tidal has some of the best online concerts, like Jay-Z, like full-length Jay-Z concert, the entire, Made in America summer Labor Day. Of course, they won't have it this year, but the entire Labor Day concert series, it's like a 3-day series, all of it on Tidal. Rihanna concerts, if that's your thing, on Tidal. Jay-Z, like the entire concert, documentaries, the 25-year anniversary of Reasonable Doubt documentary on Tidal. Like, they're like, for $12.99 or whatever the subscription is, you get music videos and all of these other things that you can't get on Spotify and Apple Music. Spotify, the best playlist ever. Like, if you're looking for Southern crunk, smooth jazz, piano study music, whatever, you will come up with like 40 different playlists unless you're just looking for something like real eclectic. 40 different playlists, but user-based playlists where you can say, like, old school slow jams, and like run across a playlist that has 300 songs in it. Now you can actually follow that playlist, and that playlist becomes your playlist, or copy that playlist and take out the songs that you don't like and whittle it down to your 125. Like, the other playlists and the other services aren't that robust, but if you're looking to build an overnight, like, playlist for this, playlist to study, playlist to read, playlist, for the boys coming to hang out, smoke cigars, the fastest and easiest place to do that with incredible, podcasts as well is Spotify, and it's the simplest to use. Apple Music, if you have an Apple TV, to be able to, or Samsung TV that has the Apple app or whatever, you can make your own video playlist and have music playlists of Afrobeat, of old school hip hop, old school R&B. And then when your friends are over, throw it up on the 65-inch and just have like the music videos going. And they've got Beats One Radio. They have incredible the Tribe Called Quest. They have their radio show there. There's something called OVO Sound, Real Eclectic from Toronto. That's Drake's radio station. They've got another one. It escapes me right now, but incredible weekly program that drops. So I'm a music fan. Let me put it to you like this. 25 years ago, if I wanted to buy the new Jodeci, the new Tony Braxton, the new Sade, the new Maxwell, it would cost me like $60 to buy 5 CDs for one CD. For the price of 1 CD, essentially,
it may not even be using all the songs. You may only just want 1 or 2 cuts.
For the price of 3 CDs, I get all the music videos, content that, like, if I'm a music fan, if music's not your thing, so what? I've got a Pandora account that's $5 just so that I don't have to listen to the commercials. But I've got my own custom Pandora stations where I've put like 30 songs or 30 artists with songs, the specific songs that I want, and customize that playlist so that it's giving me the exact energy that I want. Because, like, as a music fan, for $5 a month, like, that's incredible. Like, why would you listen to Jason's Auto is now rotating tires, like, in between your song?
I got a SoundCloud account. I probably feel like I'm in an archaic place, but I got a SoundCloud account. But you know what? When I go out, I got my UE Mega Boom speaker. I got my phone. I put on my SoundCloud. I got my cats jumping on and following me. I find stuff and I just like, all right, cool. That's all I need. And you know what, Vince? Here's the thing.
Talk to me.
Everybody thinks that I'm a DJ. Now, of course, I got disco on my license plate. I understand that. Every time I'm playing some good music or something like that. I say, and the funny line is about it from my friends. They all say, "What?" I tell them, I say, "I'm not a DJ. I just know stuff. That's all. I'm not a DJ. I just
everybody in their heart is a DJ. Everybody wants to program the backyard hangout. Everybody wants to program the cross country trip. It's never been a better and a simpler way in time to do it. And I've got a family account, and since I've turned Kalila onto it and my mom on, I don't think they could go back to listening to commercials and not being able to hear the songs in the order that they want to hear, like that sort of thing. So, I'm
gonna have to tell on myself. I just made this yesterday.
There it is. Absolutely, that's Apple Music. I know the interface.
I was feeling nostalgic, bro, and I'm sorry. You
had to put it right there in that high school.
I listen to the new stuff, and I like the new stuff. I created another channel called "You Mind If I Play Something For You," and it really is just about anybody that comes on as a guest. We share 7 songs. We don't tell each other what it is. We give a theme to it and stuff like that. And the reason why I go with the ideal of 7 songs is there's only 7 notes. There's only 7 notes. I mean, I know there's all the, treble and bass clef and all sharps and all that kind of stuff, but there's really only 7 notes. Right. And from that, this wonderful tapestry of music has been created, whether it's chaotic noise or whether it's beautiful grooves. And it all comes from 7 notes. And just think about the simplicity of 7 notes and everything that's been created. I personally have a love affair with music. Like, she is my mistress.
Well, can I share something with you? Since
yes, sir.
Taking that, there's a video that you and everyone should watch, and there are a couple of them, but find the longest one because it's only probably 20 minutes, and it's called the Millennial WOP, like WHOOP, I think. The Millennial WOP. And what they have done is they have scientifically identified why music sucks in the 21st century. So they took statistics of everything from the length of the song, harmonics, chord progression, syllables in the lyrics, amount of time that it takes to get to the chorus. Like, they've really dissected music from a scientific or a metric, a quantifiable approach, not like I like this, I don't like this, and said that there are these songwriters who write this type of music that has now become what is referred to as the millennial WOP, because it's so simple that it just becomes repetitive, and they show you the songs that have this thing or whatever, but basically the songs have gotten shorter. The amount of time that it's taken to get to the chorus is a shorter amount of time. The number of verses has decreased. Like, it really numerically breaks down why you went to create a 1982 to 1986 playlist. Ask yourself, why is it that when I go to Subway, if I go to Jimmy John's, if I go to the grocery store, I'm hearing music from the 80s and not music from 2007? Like, the lifespan of a song from 2007 is only this big because it was only designed to be that big relative to the way the music was structured in the 50s, 60s. Like this video, it's only 20 minutes, but
Vince,
it breaks it
I
down.
don't know if I'm just an old head or not, man.
No, it's scientific.
I honestly, I hate feeling like that because I
Let, let,
love.
let
I
me
love
let me ask you this question. Just think of it like this: Did your parents grow up with Jackie Wilson and Sam Cooke?
Yeah.
Did you listen to Jackie Wilson and Sam Cooke? Probably not. I'm just saying.
No,
Like,
I heard it.
that wasn't in
So
your rotation.
it was familiar. It was familiar.
Right now, but that wasn't in your personal rotation.
I'm a kid of the 70s.
Your parents weren't listening to what you listened to, but if they heard Anita Baker or if they heard Luther or if they heard Whitney, they might have been like, that child can sing. I mean, so they weren't listening to everything contemporary that you were listening to, but they had an amount of identification for talent. There is no talent in popular music today in that same dynamic. But Beyonce has the greatest concerts I've ever been to. Ave Maria, incredible. Like, so I'm not saying I'm just saying like the umbrella of talent that we could call, we could say, man, like, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Boyz II Men, this person, married, like we could go through a line of people that your parents would be like, okay, put that on at the barbecue. This stuff that's out today is scientifically not good music for those reasons. So we could go. So my point, moreover, is
Vince,
that no,
I'm loving the path you're going down, bro. Because
you're not old. You've just been phased out because if you didn't grow up with a iPhone in your hand, you don't have any point of reference to what good music really is.
My cousin Dave Gamlin out of Detroit, man, said this to me a while ago. He said, Dan, the day that you stop listening to current music is the day that you're not able to connect with the kids. And I was like, I think, Dave, that day has already been past and gone. Because I can't reference any of that stuff, nothing. But it's wonderful to find new groups that have come on, but they have an old vibe to it. So, group out of LA called Moonchild.
Yeah, absolutely. What was it? Voyager was one of the albums.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And so on a humble, I heard it and I was like, who in the world is this? Shazammed it, got on it. It's 2:00 in the morning. I woke my boy up because I know he was going to get up. I was like, dude, you got to listen to this. We went and saw the concert last year in October. Phenomenal.
Let me share a story with you, though. So here's the power of Spotify. A friend of mine who I know loves eclectic, good soul music. When I say eclectic, it's just because it's not played on the radio. It doesn't mean that it's like, so eclectic would be, the internet, Moonchild, even Anderson .Paak,
There you go.
So that's just not mainstream. It's not John Legend and Alicia Keys. So my point is that I told her at the end of the last 2 years, send me your Spotify playlist of your top 100 songs that you listened to this year. One of my playlists are the last 2 years of music that she's listened to on Spotify with all of these artists that I otherwise wouldn't know, because you kind of got to be there to know who to listen to. So unless somebody turns you on to it, but she sends me her entire playlist. So now I've got this playlist of like 178 songs because there was a little overlap between 2018 and 2019, but I couldn't do that on Tidal. I couldn't do that on Apple Music. The fact that I can do that on Spotify and then send it to you, this, aggregated playlist that I created from her, that's why I'm saying $15 a month to be able to open your mind and be entertained. That's why I said that was number 5.
But I got down there, spend some money on streaming.
That's it. I mean,
that's shuffling and jiving.
That's where it is. So once you get a Spotify account, I'll send it to you.
Oh man. Let me see. My wife got one. Let me see. Can I get a partnership account with that? Can I jump on?
You can upgrade $4 for a family account or something like that. It's not, yeah.
Baby, I need to get on your Spotify account.
There it is. Make sure you get on the family account though, because you don't want that Best of Mariah Carey popping up your rotation.
Oh my God, man. Vince,
My
if
man.
there is one song, and I know this is going to be hard, one song that either personifies you or that you just simply just say, that's my groove. Just one.
Another Star, Stevie Wonder. Best album ever, favorite recording artist ever, most passion, progression in an up-tempo song, can bring you to tears, can bring you to Africa, can birth you, can put you to bed, man. Another Star, Stevie Wonder.
Why is that? What do you remember first hearing about that?
My mom drinking Chablis in the middle of the night, playing it over and over again in 1977. Album came out in 76, probably the end of 76. The song just stayed on repeat. And, it's sunk into my subconscious all the way. Yeah.
So mom was just like, this is something you gotta get into. Well, brother.
No, I was just in the environment. She didn't sit me down and play it. It was just, there was no avoiding it. It was there. Another Star.
I had to play that for you, brother, because
I felt it.
It's something to be said about your pick, because I've asked others just informally. 9 times out of 10, the artist that they do pick is Stevie Wonder. We gotta start to appreciate that, brother, for give him his roses while he's still here. Before we moved out of Chicago, we got a chance to see that concert at the United Center and the Songs of the Key of Life concert.
Powerful.
Pardon, blew me away, out of my socks, the whole 9. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is the incomparable Vince Adams. I want to just call him Vince Evans. It's my man VA, baby.
There it is. Believe that.
You on you too near me not to hear me. Hey Vince, where can they find you at, bro?
DJ Vince Adams on everything. Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, you name it. Everything / DJ Vince Adams, all one word.
And the next show that's coming up soon with you?
The Singles Brunch.
Singles Brunch.
Yep.
Singles Brunch, August 30th. My man, I appreciate you, man. Much love to you. Hey,
continue
as
success.
always, oh man, bro, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. And look, a lot of stuff was said today. If there's anything else that I would want y'all to walk away from this, is simply this. Man, don't take yourself so serious. It's going to be all right.
Absolutely.
Y'all take it easy. Peace.